Happy Wednesday. It's Hump Day. Veterans Day. All good things. Yep. We are nearing the end of Unit 3. Okay? So make sure that you have everything Unit 3'd at or near 100%. So that includes going back to week 7. So you got the week 7 homework, 2 formatives, the week 8 homework, and the week 9 homework. Okay? The quiz, some of you still have to take the quiz. Okay? Lots of you still have to take the quiz. So I'm missing 10 quizzes yet. Okay? And a lot of homeworks. Okay? So as we get nearer and nearer towards the end of Unit 3, that deadline, that hard deadline of that stuff's got to be turned in, is closer and closer and closer also. So don't let that be a rush. Get started early. Okay? Pick up on the video today from where we left off on yesterday's video. Today we're going to find zeros we're going to start finding zeros of functions. We're going to start small, and then tomorrow we'll expand and expand and expand. Okay? So, solve this quadratic function, or this quadratic equation algebraically using I. Okay? Well, so first off, what I would do is I would say, well, x squared plus 6 equals 0. I would move my 6. And I would say, well, I'm going to subtract 6 here. And then that's going to leave me with x squared equals negative 6. Not setting the world on fire yet. Okay, just moving 6. Then we can take the square root on both sides. And I would get x on this side equals. Now, the kicker here is I need to have 2 answers because it's a squared one. So I got to add the plus or minus. Okay, that'll give me my 2 answers, plus or minus there. And then this is going to be the square root of negative 6. Well, now, because we know we know that this is, or the square root, I should say, of negative 6 is the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 6. Square root of negative 1 is I. The square root of 6 is just the square root of 6. So my final answer here would be x equals plus or minus I times the square root of 6. Okay. Now, if I were to graph this function, okay, what would happen would be, leave it in there, okay, what would happen would be is when I would graph this function, zeros, roots, solutions are where the function or the polynomial crosses the x-axis, that horizontal axis right there. So this one would only cross in imaginary town, so it would never cross the x-axis. It would stay totally above or possibly totally below. It would never cross over. Because if it crosses over, then we have a 0. We can find that, what that value is, and it wouldn't be imagined. Okay? Kick it up a notch. So now we've got x squared plus 9 equals 4x minus 4. first thing we're going to want to do is we're definitely going to want to get this equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. At the same time, I'm going to add 4. That's going to give me x squared minus 4x plus 13 equals 0. If we could factor, we'd factor. There are not two numbers that multiply together to be 13 and add to be negative 4. So we can't factor this particular one. If we can't factor, then what we have to do is we have to use our old friend, the Pythagorean, or not Pythagorean theorem, the quadratic formula. No idea why I have the Pythagorean theorem in my brain. So we've got to use that. So then we would have here x is equal to the opposite of negative 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 13 all over 2 times 1. Opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. 4 times 1 times 13 is 52. 2 times 1 is 2. $16 minus 52. 36? Is it? No? Well, yes, negative 36, but 36 would be the number, right? Yeah? Plus 36 plus 10 is 46 plus 6 is 50. Yep, so negative 36. Yep. Square root of negative 36, does that simplify? To what? What would the square root of negative 36 simplify to be? 6i, yep. So then this becomes 4 plus or minus 6i. Can 4 be divided by 2? Can 6 be divided by 2? Yeah. So then our final answer here would be x equals 2, because that's 4 divided by 2, plus or minus 3i. Because 3 is 6 divided by 2. What we're working towards is I'm just going to give you a function. And I'm going to say find all the zeros. Okay? We're not quite there yet. Okay? But we are able to do problems like this. And I think that you've done some problems like this last week. Okay? Where at least you got along the steps. Okay? You stopped last week at bus stop number 2, where you just factored it. Okay? Now we're going to be able to go to bus stop number 3, and we're going to solve these. Okay? So find all the zeros of the polynomial function. So the key here is all. Last week we were just finding real ones. Now we're finding all. Okay? If x minus 4 is a factor. So if x minus 4 is a factor, then x minus 4 equals 0. X equals 4 is a root, or a 0, or a solution, or an answer. Okay? So we got to include that one because it said find all the zeros, so we just found one of them. Okay? With that being said, we can also use synthetic division with 4, 2, negative 9, 10, and negative 24. So this would be 2, 8, negative 1, negative 4, 6, 24, and 0. Like it? So f of x now equals x minus 4 times 2x squared minus x plus 6. Is that factorable? Two, 2, 3. Nope, because of the plus, not factorable. Yep, because we need these two signs need to be the same, and I need them to be minus and plus. So that's not going to work. So that's not factorable. Okay. So then we can quadratic equation it. Okay. So because we can say here then that x minus 4 equals 0, so x equals 4. That's that one that we already found. Okay. 2x squared minus x plus 6 equals 0. Why don't you guys quadratic formula that and see what we get for an answer. One. So all the zeros I get are 4 and 1 plus or minus I times the square root of 47 all over 4. Yes? Agree? questions? That is all that I have for today. I kept it short intentionally because it was our first time meeting. Okay? So what you can be doing now that we're done and we still have a half hour to go in class, if you are missing something and if you don't know what you're missing, you can ask me. Okay? I'll tell you. And you can be working on getting that stuff fixed and turned in and formatives retaken, you know, homeworks turned in on its learning and all that fun stuff. Okay?